Good morning, friends. Today we are in the upper pasture, and yesterday, I believe it was, the cows got moved to a new field. So this field had been shut up so the grass could grow, and now they were out of grass in a different pasture, so now they've been turned into this one so they can graze it. I brought my fly spray, and I've already got shot a couple of horse flies. Mr. Bull there, he has one on him. I'm going to put out a little bit of feed here, and he'll come a little bit closer, and maybe I can get that. Well, get that old fly. I hate horse flies because they suck the blood of the cattle, but also they spread diseases, so I don't want them if I can help it. Don't want them on the cattle if I can help it. So we've been using different fly control products so they don't get immune to one. And this is a different one now. This one's called Prozap. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. So I've got some good news for you. This week has been a week of ups and downs for us. Of course, a lot of times it is like that in the cattle business. The calf that we had, that we still have in the barn, we've had some difficulty with him. He's 2 weeks old yesterday, and he had never really taken the nipple on the bucket and sucked it. So we were beginning to wonder, and we got evidence that he had some kind of obstruction. The milk was not going on down. We were smelling a soured smell, and it seemed like he was having some of it come running out of his mouth, and those are not good signs. So I decided to give him a break. He had also had some pneumonia, so we had treated him for that, and then I gave him a break from feeding him milk. I just offered electrolytes and water, and yesterday evening he did take the electrolytes and water, so I was very thankful of that. So this morning we started back out with just a small amount of milk and milk replacer and some water, and of course some probiotics and the electrolyte mix. So hopefully he will be on the mend now. We were really concerned that we were going to lose him, and then I don't think I had mentioned to y'all before that Mom had been in the hospital. She had pneumonia and dehydration, and she had gotten a good report the middle of the week. Y'all please continue to pray for her. Her mind, she has dementia, and her mind is not as good as when we went to the hospital, so please remember her in prayer. Yesterday I did get the bull delivered that the gentleman bought. There was a man that come down from up around Romance and Guy, farther north of us, and before Mom was in the hospital, and he chose a bull, and he brought his trailer, but the bull didn't refuse to get in the man's trailer. So I told him that I would deliver him to him for free, and I'm thankful that he was very patient. And I got up there yesterday with him, and the loading, Jeremy got him loaded without a hitch once I got the dog out from under the stock trailer that was laying under there looking at him. That's never very encouraging for an animal to go in. So anyway, I got him unloaded, and I also got over to a orchard there in that area, and I got some apples and some little tomatoes. My vines, my plants around the house are not doing much. I think they're just about done. And a watermelon. So got a few things there while I was up there, and I'm thankful for that. And then next week we got some good rain chances. So I hope we're going to get a good rain. Other than that, everyone is doing well, I think. I have not been to the bottom pasture yet, but I plan to go there next. So today's message is on God's love and protection. So sometimes, just like it was for me this week, sometimes we have our ups and downs. In our Bible lesson today, we see that Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, also has his ups and downs. And we will see how God punished Pharaoh for his wicked ways. When you think the people are having an up, you can think of it as a yo-yo going up, or when they're down, having a yo-yo going down. God had spoken to Moses from the burning bush and told him to go to Pharaoh and tell him to set his people free. They had been slaves in Egypt for many years. So Moses and his brother Aaron went to Pharaoh and asked him to set God's people free. But Pharaoh said, "No, I will not let them go." Because Pharaoh refused to obey, God sent terrible plagues upon Egypt. One time he sent frogs all over the land. There were so many frogs that Pharaoh thought he would croak. At other times, God sent flies, gnats, and locusts. They really bugged him. Well, Pharaoh had more ups and downs than a yo-yo. When God sent one of the plagues, Pharaoh would tell Moses that God would make it go away if he would let his people go. But after God made the plague go away, Pharaoh would change his mind and refuse to let the people go. Since Pharaoh was so hard-hearted and refused to let God's people go, God continued to send plagues upon Egypt. There were 10 of them in all. The final plague was the worst of all. God told Moses to tell Pharaoh that the last plague would be so terrible that it would change his heart and he would let the people go. Every firstborn son and every firstborn male animal would die. How awful. It's always sad to see what happens to people when they refuse to obey God. Since Pharaoh and the people of Egypt refused to do what God told them, they suffered terribly. That may be hard to understand, but remember, God had given them many opportunities to do what he told them, but they refused. God gave Moses instructions on how his people were to prepare for the last plague. He said that every family should take a 1-year-old lamb, one that was perfect in every way, and prepare a meal. They were to take some blood from the lamb and smear it on the sides and tops of the doorway of their houses. God warned the people that there was going to be a lot of death in the land. God said to his people, "The blood will serve as a sign on the house where you live. When I see the blood, I will pass you over. No harm will touch you when I strike the land of Egypt." Then God sent the 10th plague. Pharaoh changed his mind and freed God's children. God cares for us just like he cared for the children in Egypt long ago. In fact, he made a way for us to get out of our messes too. Just like Pharaoh, we have our ups and downs, but Jesus died on the cross for all the wrong things we have done. If we believe in him and ask him to come into our hearts, he makes a way for us to get to heaven. Let us have a prayer before we finish our message. Dear God, we know that some things we do are not pleasing to you. We are thankful for Jesus who sets us free from our sin. In Jesus we have forgiveness. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope you'll do something nice for someone so that they might see Jesus in you. Goodbye.